All right, I'm not exaggerating. This is the biggest. This is the biggest update for leagues. Reveal, not even reveal. Like this is the biggest thing that leagues has ever seen, in my opinion. Is they've announced the Combat Masteries system. It not only does it changes everything, it's just super cool. So, what are combat masteries? In previous leagues, you were able to pick relics for your combat styles, and they boosted your combat up. So now they're not doing any relics for combat. I believe they said they're doing one. I don't know what they're counting as that. Maybe that's like Grimoire counts as a combat relic. I don't know. We will find out soon. But all of them have been kind of turned into this handy little chart spreadsheet that they've made. A lot of info on here. I'm going to read through it and slap some thoughts on it so that you can, I don't know, give you some things to think about. Of course, if you're enjoying the Daily Leagues content, subscribe to the channel, like this video, put a comment below. What are you doing? What's your path? So the way this works is there are 10 challenges, very easy challenges, a lot of them, and then they get harder as it goes along. When you've completed your 10 challenges, like each time you complete a challenge, you pick one of these things. So going in a line from left to right, you could pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. And you get 10. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's your 10. You can't undo your choice after you've made it. And yeah, it's kind of pretty straightforward. Like you cannot pick this one here unless you have the other ones completed as well. So you have to go in a linear order to kind of power up your account. So, okay, jumping into it fully with some reading mode narration here. So, Combat Masteries, you spend Combat Mastery points to unlock powerful style-focused abilities. You earn these points by completing the tasks. You can get up to 10 points total. Each ability requires the previous tier of that style to be unlocked. And you unlock passive buffs as you reach each tier for the first time. These passive buffs apply to all styles. So, what are the challenges? The first one is defeat a giant. People will be able to do that pretty quickly. Second challenge is to defeat 10 monsters with a combat level of over 100. So before we even go further, I will definitely be making a second video on combat masteries with like specific strategy of what to take, how to complete these tasks, things to think about, stuff like that, and then really diving into like actual like DPS calculations of how good things really are and how bad things really are. So this will be a more of a high level overview with just some immediate thoughts. Okay, so defeat a giant. I don't think you need to do these in order either. Like you could go straight to Zuck if you wanted. That's not possible. Okay, defeat a giant. 10 monsters with a combat level of over 100. Kill Scurious by yourself. Defeat a monster with Slayer level requirement of 55. So straight to the Varrock Museum. Get that quick. I think it's like 27 Slayer levels that you get from that, plus Hunter levels. And then just do a couple of Slayer tasks, and boom, you're at 55. Defeat Jad in the Fight Caves. Again, this is so good for points and tasks as well. Like, really, really good. So that's a priority for day one in my books, considering I'll be playing like 12 hours. Reach a combat level of 100. That one will take a bit of time. Defeat an Echo Boss. We have no clue how hard these are going to be. Maybe you can kill them pretty quickly, but you'll need to have unlocked your first region. Defeat 2 unique Echo Bosses. So again, you'll have to unlock second region. You'll have to kill the boss for the orb to then be able to fight the Echo Boss, and then you're going to have to be able to kill it. We don't know how hard they're going to be. And then 3 unique Echo Bosses. So the third one is going to be the longest task, in my opinion. You will need to unlock all of your regions, which is a lot of tasking. Usually takes people I don't know, 75 hours, maybe 50 hours of gameplay. You see people getting there in day 2 of leagues, but they haven't slept yet. So it's a long time depending how efficient you are. So it'll be a few days before you can get to your final region if you're no-lifing it. And then killing Zuck is one of the tasks, which is crazy, but I think it's good. I actually kind of like that they did this because there's a lot of people who have never tried fighting Zuck. And with the league's power-ups, you will realize that it's not as hard as it might look. And you're going to be able to smoke Zuck, and it'll be a good time. Okay, let's look at some of these tiers, and then we'll go to the passives at the bottom. We're just kind of going top to bottom, and then I will explain what I'm going to pick, just right now looking at it, what I would go. Okay, so tier 1 melee. Once you kill a giant, you can now, melee hits have a 25% chance to roll damage twice and take the highest result. So essentially, I believe 25%. No, it wouldn't be a 25% DPS increase. It's just increased DPS. I don't know the number on it exactly. But say you roll two 50s, well, it's just going to hit 50. So it's not a DPS increase in that case. If you roll a 0 and a 5, then it'll just hit a 5. So yeah, that right there is like a 500% DPS increase in that scenario. So I don't know what the full numbers on it. Whatever, that's gonna be free, and a lot of people will take it anyways. Melee hits have a 10% chance to generate an echo hit. So it will hit 50% of your max hit. It respects accuracy, meaning you could hit a 0 on it, and PVM only. No player versus player. Sorry, Wildy. So this 10% and then 50% adds to being a 5% DPS increase. So nothing crazy in tier 2, 5% DPS increase. Tier 3 melee attacks rate is set to 80% rounding down. So if you have a 5-tick weapon, it will go down to a 4-tick weapon, right? Or is it a 3-tick? We're doing the flomple math. Someone in the league's Discord roasted my math today, which is great. So yeah, if you have a 5-tick weapon and you multiply that by 0.8, it goes to 4. Just checking. I had to get the calculator out for that one, okay? So a scythe or an Osmumpton's Fang or something like that will go down to being a 4-tick weapon. But also all of the Barrows equipment, like anything that hits at 5-tick goes down to 4. If it is a whip, rounding, it says it rounds down. A whip goes from 4 to 3. The Kopesh, the 4-tick Kopesh, goes from 4 to 3. So this is really nice. This is actually quite good, obviously. And tier 4, melee hits have a 5% chance to heal 40% of the damage dealt. That is a... you're going to be doing a lot of damage, so you're just going to get a ton of heals. Because of this being like, you know, locked in, you have to have it. I really don't think Berserker is coming back. There was a relic last league called Berserker where sitting at a low HP was super beneficial because the lower your hit points were, the higher you would hit. Just like wearing full Darox, but with anything. So I had Berserker with a T-bow, and my T-bow DPS went up 40% on it. But now there's so many things that heal you that I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it's just going to be a healer mode scape where everybody's sitting at full health. Okay, melee attacks rate are set to 50% rounded down above 5 ticks and rounded up below 4 ticks. What the heck does that mean? The math on that is that you will have a 2-tick scythe or a 2-tick Osmumpton's Fang. This is the league's classic, is you go down to a 2-tick weapon speed, which is very good. It will round up if it's below 4 ticks. So just for example, there's like the event RPG, the ham joint, the 3-tick melee weapons. Those things are going to round up. So you won't have a 1-tick melee weapon, you'll have a 2-tick. Basically puts everything to 2-tick. Now, if you have a Darox Axe, which is a 7-tick weapon, it will round to 50%, which goes to 3.5. It will then round down to the 3. So DH Axe will be a 3-tick weapon in this league. If you had an 8-tick weapon, it would go to 4. Okay, so this is the tier 6. This is like hard to... I need to see the excuse me. I need to see the actual DPS calculators on coming out for this one. Your chance to generate a melee echo is increased to 20%. So when you deal damage, there's a 20% chance that it will also deal an echo. And echoes, if we go back to here, an echo, it puts in brackets, additional melee hit, which is 50% of your max hit, and it can hit zeros. So I don't think it's guaranteed 50% of your max hit. I think it's more of it can hit up to 50% of your max hit, because otherwise that'd be insane. So yeah, when you hit, there's a 20% chance that you get a 50% damage. I don't know, like there's a lot of percentages flying around here. But on that second echo, it will also have a 20% chance to have a third echo. And that third echo will have a 20% chance to have a fourth echo. And it's just going to keep going. So up to 8 times in a row. It's going to be hard to get 8 times in a row, but if you're hitting every 2 ticks, you're going to be hitting some crazy. You're going to hit 6, 7s, and 8s every so often here. A scythe has 3 damage splats, and each one of them will have a potential for an echo, and each one of those will have a potential for another echo. So the cap of 8 is gonna happen. It might be like hourly, it might be like every raid you're hitting it, but 11 hit splats. It will have 11 hit splats with that. Insane. Moving on to the ranged tier. So first off, easiest one, or the tier 1, damage rolls beneath 30% of your max hit will be increased to 30% of your max hit. So yeah, if you hit if your max hit's 50 and you hit a 2, it will go up to, what is it, 8? Flumple math, I don't know. It'll go up to 30%. I should have used, if your max hits 100 and you hit a 1, it will go to a 30. There you go, easier math. Each subsequent range attack has its max hit increased by an additional 5%. Yeah, why? So it's just, I'm confused. Each subsequent attack has its max hit increased by additional 5%, resets after 20%. Okay, the first time I read this is not what I thought, but now I'm rereading it and it makes more sense. So when you deal range hit, the next one will have a 5% buffed damage. The next one after that will have 10%. Next one will have a 15, and then a 20, and then it'll reset again. So you're kind of like charging up a stack of range damage. That's what it looks like to me. Again, comment section below if I'm just way off on that. Range attack rate is set to 80%, rounding down. So same thing for all 3 of these. So your 5-tick crossbow goes down to a 4-tick. That's the biggest use case. If you have a 2-tick blowpipe, it goes down to 1-tick, right? Range attack rate set to 80%, rounding down. It says it rounds down. So a 2-tick blowpipe would go to 1 because it rounds down. Am I crazy on this? I don't think so. Every 5th range hit, heal 5 hit points. Nice little bonus health. This is the health one, the health tier. Tier 4 is health. Range attack rate is set to 50%, rounded down above 5-tick, rounded up below. So 2-tick T-bow, 2-tick crossbow. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be craziness. It's fun. I don't know. The 2-tick is just so good for leagues. But again, 1-tick blowpipe for sure. At this rate, you have a 1-tick blowpipe because in the reveal video they show a 1-tick blowpipe. Here we go. Never miss with range. PVM only. That's a crazy tier 6. It just looks insane. One thing to note: the Drygore blowpipe. The purpose of the Drygore blowpipe is not additional damage, it's additional accuracy. So if you're going for tier 6 on the accuracy, the Drygore blowpipe actually is just the same as a regular blowpipe at that point, which is fine. I mean, it just, Desert now, you can get a blowpipe to begin with. Even if they're the exact same, it doesn't matter. Blowpipe's very strong. Mage time. When you roll above 90% of your max hit with magic, damage is increased by 50%. So you're just going to get 10% of the time when you hit, you will get a 50% increased max. So it'll just be bonus damage, just a nice little bonus damage. Number 2, tier 2, magic max hit is increased by 5% per tick in between your attacks, up to 40%. So this makes slow hitting mage weapons good, or gooder. So max hit is increased by 5 tick per tick. Sorry, 5% per tick in between your attacks. Yeah, so if you have a 5-tick like Ice Barrage, then you're adding 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, 20% damage increased to the max hit because there's 4 ticks between it. I would expect that this is like your base rate, as opposed to when you're at this point, it's moved down to being a 2-tick. Who knows? We'll find out. Again, I apologize. This is a quick video. I was recording it right after this reveal is released, and the JMods are in their little private Discord there discussing all the FAQ. So a lot of these answers will be answered already, and we'll find. That's why I said I'll make a second video. Subscribe if you want to see the second video. Magic attack rate set to 80%. So your Shadow goes down to a 4-tick. Your Ice Barrage goes down to 4-tick. Stuff like that. When you roll above 90% of your max hit with magic, you'll heal 10% of the damage dealt. So you're essentially healing 1% of all damage dealt. Even less because you might splash. So every time you attack something, there's like about 1% health regen expected. Magic attack rate is set to 50%, rounded down, yada, yada, yada. We know this one. It will be a 2-tick Shadow, 2-tick Ice Barrage, 2-tick Terrain of the Swamp, Terrain of the Seas, whatever else you got cooking. This is tiny text because there's a lot going on here. So for the tier 6 Magic, max hit with Magic is increased by 1% for every 100 hit points remaining on the target, up to 10%. So your max hit with Magic will essentially go up by 10% if the monster has a shitload of HP. If it has over 1,000 HP. So that's like a 10% buff to Magic flat, but sometimes it won't do that because the HP is below. So something to think about. But on a successful Magic hit, if your target has less hit points than your max hit, you will max hit. So that is the automatic KO weapon, instant KO, which I love. I wish this was in a lower tier because it's super fun. But yeah, it's like if you know your max hit is 50 and a monster has 46 HP, put your staff on and whack it, or shadow it, whatever, and it'll insta kill it. So it is really good, this last part here. But yeah, the passives. Let's look at the passives. For the tier 1, your passive is beautiful. 95% chance to save weapon charges, ammunition, runes used for spells. So it's passive, it goes for all styles. You don't need to, it doesn't work with one style. Like previously you would only have this work for one style. So now it's all 3 styles. Amazing. You're barely going to use any runes. You're barely going to use any scythe charges or whatever else you're cooking with. Healing from all sources is increased by 20%. Blood Fury Gang are going to be happy with that. I mean, there's other ways of healing, like these ones give you some healing in here. You've got the bracelet thingies, or the gloves from Soul Heredit Echo Boss. That gives you a bunch of healing. There's going to be some builds where you just go max healing and you're just never going to need food and you can AFK everything in the game. Accuracy with all styles is increased by 100%. That is humongous. That is so good. That's what Leagues is all about. Just never miss. Love it. Love that. Tier 4. Damage is reduced by 15%. So that one is could not be any clearer. I just like when they're very, very clear with their things like that. You can still get one hit by Zuck. So good luck with that. Prayer point gain from all sources increased by 25%. That's interesting. I don't know why that's tier 5. It's kind of like pretty simple. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. Really nice, but not that crazy. Attacks with all styles now have 60% prayer penetration. I believe that is in there because it's not just for Nex that prays melee. It's not like that thing will still reflect anyways, I'm imagining, even if you're penetrating Nex. Yeah, I love penetrating Nex. I think the Echo Bosses are just all going to have prayers. Like that kind of confirms that mechanic to me, to be honest. Like if you're killing KBD, it's probably praying range, and then maybe it switches to melee pray, and then maybe it switches to mage pray. So if you've got the tier 6, now you'll just be able to camp your style of choice and just hit through the prayer 60% anyways. This is huge. This is a huge update. Here's what I'm thinking of doing. I wanted to do a melee build because of how fun it is. I want to take Mauritania, and I want to get a Scythe, and I want to get a Noxious Halberd, and I want to get full Darox, I want to get all of the Barrows gear and stuff like that, and you can get a Blood Fury, and you can get an Amulet of Rancor, and Rancour, whatever you want to call it. I'm so excited. Okay, sorry, that was a weird noise. So my thought was going all the way to tier 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know what the DPS increase of tier 6 is for melee. If it's actually not that good, there's no shot. It's not that bad. Like it's really good. 20% chance to hit up to 50% of your max hit secondary hit. Like it's big DPS up to 8 times. Like it stacks. Anyways, the numbers will come out pretty quickly on that, but you're probably going to tier 6 if you're going melee. So let's say I go tier 6. Do you then go all in on range, like 1, 2, 3, 4 on range? Again, you only get 10 choices here. I don't think you need the every 5th range hit heals 5 hit points. So let's say I'm not going all 4 there. So maybe I'll go 3 range. So you're getting a bunch of extra range DPS. You get the range attack rate is now 80%, so it rounds down on that. If that means a 1-tick blowpipe with range, That's so powerful. Again, I'm just yapping here because I need to figure out these things. But the answers were not out when I started this video, so don't flame me. So this is kind of where I'm thinking is you go 6 and 3, and then you've got 1 on Mage. And this one's nice, a nice little buff to Mage as well. Otherwise, you could go 6 and 3 Mage to get the reduced attack rate, and then 1 on range. Or you can go 6, 2, and 2. Some crazy people are going to go 3, 3, and 3. That's just not fun. What do you need that for? Come on. At least go to 5. So let's say you go to 5 and you miss the last one. So the never miss with ranged PVM only, like that might not increase DPS as much as we think, or it's game breaking. I think there's some bosses where that won't matter. They don't have much defense. Plus you've got 100% accuracy anyways, right? So plus if you have the Dragor blowpipe, that thing rolls accuracy twice. You're not missing anyways. So let's say you're doing a range build. You go to 5, and now that opens up 5 for something else. So maybe you go 5 melee, 5 range. I don't know. You're getting a 1-tick blowpipe. You're getting a 2-tick scythe. That could be overall meta. And then you know what, Mage, I'm just not using it. I'll let you guys use it. It's a real scenario. Again, I mentioned it earlier, but throw a comment like what would you do, or what kind of thing you're doing, and just kind of say like, yeah, 3 melee, 2 range, and 6, well, 5 math good, 5 mage. I just say it in the comments. What are you doing? And I guess what do you think of the combat masteries? I love it. I think it's simple enough for people to follow. I think 10 is a good number. Pick 10 of these things. You got to pick them in order. The challenges are hard but easy enough, and it's a good time. It's a good time. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching once again. We will see you tomorrow for another video. Subscribe, like, comment, and like, and subscribe. And, okay, bye.